very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second of the film nights here at the World Water Week, and a very good morning, afternoon, and evening to everyone tuning in online. Now, to those of you in the room, thanks for joining us. We know it's a beautiful evening out in Stockholm. The restaurants, the sunshine, the wine and the bars are calling, but this is where it's at for the next 2 hours. And this is actually the first in the history of the World Water Week of doing film nights, and I think that is really credit and testament to the power of film, the power of video storytelling when it comes to communicating, raising awareness and driving engagement in communicating how we're going to solve the world's water problems. So a big thanks to all the conveners who have made it possible to bring these two evenings together. There's a big list behind me. There should be. There we go. And also to the sponsors of this evening, the Grundfos Foundation. Again, a huge thanks to the conveners and the sponsors. So, who am I? So, my name is Tom Freyberg. I'm an environmental journalist and content creator specializing in water. I've been involved in the water scene since 2010 as a magazine editor before launching my own creative agency in 2018. In terms of involvement in documentaries and films, I was a communications director of the Brave Blue World documentary, which many of you may have seen, now available on Netflix. Well worth a watch, although I'm a little bit biased on that one. But personally, I'm a huge advocate and fan, and day to day we really promote the use of video as a medium of storytelling. We believe it has the power to connect, to inspire, to transcend boundaries, to transcend silos. And you're going to get to see some amazing examples tonight of storytelling of some of the people affected by climate change, affected by the climate crisis. But there's some amazing entrepreneurs and cases of citizen entrepreneurship within those communities that are being showcased. But to start this evening, we wanted to showcase a very short video that we created, and we actually stopped and asked the question. We often talk about water, but what would water say if it had a voice? And what would water say if it could speak? So let's play that video just as a way to kickstart this evening. Okay, so what is the plan this evening? So we're going to split it into two parts. The first half, you're going to get to meet some of the representatives behind the projects involved in the films. And we've got films ranging from the Catskills of New York to Mexico to Zambia and even Nepal, all on the topic of nature-based solutions and community engagement. So you're going to get to enjoy the films, meet the people, and then we're going to have some audience Q&A. There's still people filtering in from the drinks and the evening, hopefully, before they venture into the city. So I really want to make sure this is interactive. You've all earned a bit of a break, so you'll get to watch the films, but then we want some Q&A. We want you to give questions, insights, feedback to our wonderful speakers, so please make sure when we reach out for the questions, there's no tumbleweed and people are getting involved. So before we watch the first film, I want to invite all of our speakers to please take a seat. Please give them a round of applause as they join us. We have Alejandro Okia, Angel Adhikari, Adamson Sahala, and Ruth Matthews. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Okay, so now, if everyone just take a seat. Adamson, brilliant, and Ruth, thank you. So now it's time to sit back, relax, enjoy some of these incredible films, these works of art, and you're going to be transported around the world. But first up, we're going to go to Mexico with the Mexico's water protectors and ecosystem allies.
Recuerdo que cuando yo tendría tal vez 12, 13 años, el agua pues, era lo que más había, ¿no? Llovía bastante, pero conforme ha pasado el tiempo, 20 años, sí se siente ese cambio, ¿no? Pero ahora me toca a mí absorber la responsabilidad con mi pareja, con mi familia. En esta temporada, 3, 4 meses no tuvimos agua. Recuerdo que pues, teníamos mangueras hacia los arroyos de agua gris, por ejemplo. No se diga del tema del manejo de nuestras excretas, nuestros residuos. En algunos casos todavía se practicaba campo libre y en algunos otros pues la letrina, ¿no? Todo un foco de infección, filtración en nuestras recargas de mantos freáticos. No se tenía un manejo apropiado de ese saneamiento.
Cuando yo veo lugares deforestados me hace sentir muy triste porque pienso en el futuro, en los niños, en que quizás ellos no tengan suficiente agua. Si ahorita nos está haciendo falta, a ellos les va a hacer más falta. ¿Y ellos qué van a hacer? Lo que nosotros hagamos ahora les va a repercutir más adelante. La deforestación impacta muy fuertemente en la vida de las personas de esta comunidad porque se está viendo en estos momentos que no tenemos suficiente agua, entonces tenemos que trasladarnos a otro lugar para conseguir agua y eso nos hace perder tiempo, dinero, porque la mayor parte de las personas no tienen camionetas, tienen que conseguir viajes para trasladarse, llenar un tinaco de agua para que llegue a su casa.
Nuestros abuelos nos contaban de que hubo un tiempo, una dependencia que les daba fertilizante a los productores de café. Ellos aplicaban fertilizante, no hacían las actividades que ahorita estamos haciendo. Hubo unos 2, 3, 4, 5 años que sí sacaron bastante producción de café, pero con el mismo químico los fue quemando las plantas.
Los emprendimientos sociales son importantes porque dan una oportunidad de generar ingresos que no dependan de cuestiones externas. De eso surge pues, la intención de impulsar un emprendimiento que nos genere ingresos para poder contribuir a nuestros propios sueños.
WWF y la Fundación Gonzalo Río Arronte crearon una alianza para trabajar en la cuenca Copalita. Desde ese entonces hemos trabajado con comunidades locales y socios aplicando una visión integral que reconoce la conexión de las partes alta, media y baja de la cuenca.
El trabajo que viene desempeñando la alianza se basa principalmente en 3 componentes: manejo del agua, manejo del bosque y manejo del suelo, ¿no? En el tema del agua, lo que impulsa son modelos de uso sustentable del agua, que denomina la metodología MUSA, en donde se implementan sanitarios secos, biofiltros, captaciones de agua de lluvia, ¿no? Como un manejo diferente y alternativo, pero sustentable. En el tema del bosque, impulsa reforestaciones, conservación de la biodiversidad, no solo con una especie, sino en este caso con varias especies de pino, encino, palos de águila. Y con el tema de suelo, pues prácticas sustentables con este enfoque agroecológico. Y también lo que hace la alianza, fortalecer estos tejidos sociales y comunitarios.
Nosotros como parte alta de la cuenca tenemos una gran responsabilidad, ya que de nosotros va a depender el agua que le llegue a la cuenca media y a la cuenca baja. Entonces nosotros tenemos mayor responsabilidad y tenemos que cuidar que no esté contaminada ese agua que les va a llegar a las personas que viven en la parte media y baja.
Muchos de los productores dicen, no, pues total nosotros estamos bien acá, ¿no? Pero digo, si contaminamos nosotros, estamos contaminando el río. El agua que pasa toda esta parte de la cuenca, eso lo toman nuestros hermanos. Nosotros consumimos pescado, camarón de la parte baja. Entonces, si contaminamos, nos estamos contaminando nosotros.
Todo esto que se genera al final está teniendo un impacto negativo para la comunidad, pero también para las comunidades vecinas, San Pedro el Alto, Santa María Huatulco.
En la Escuela Secundaria Técnica 131, donde yo estudié, ahí tienen un complejo ecológico. Y creo que eso es muy importante, ya que pues todos los alumnos empiezan a ser conscientes ya. Aunque no estén tan enfocados en esa línea, ellos participan en las actividades, se involucran, también los maestros, entonces pero ya empiezan a ser conscientes, ya empiezan a ver que sí se puede trabajar de manera ecológica sin dañar al medio ambiente.
La Escuela Secundaria Técnica ha podido desarrollar un complejo ecológico en donde integran 3 sistemas que les permite tener esa seguridad hídrica. Sanitarios secos, tienen un módulo para hombres y para mujeres, donde las heces fecales las almacenan en un popostero, la orina la envían a unos contenedores, las cuales después son aplicadas en los jardines. También tienen un sistema de tratamiento de aguas grises, o llama biofiltros, tratadores, en donde toda la actividad, lavado de platos, el lavado de trastes, el lavado de manos, esa agua pasa por ese medio filtrante y lo que busca es darle un tratamiento de al menos el 60-70% de tratamiento de esa agua que después puede ser reutilizada, ¿no? Principalmente para el riego de jardines. Y el sistema de captación de agua de lluvia, que este sistema básicamente es el que abastece a la comunidad estudiantil durante el periodo de estiaje, ¿no? Que por la posición que tiene la escuela llega a ser aproximadamente de 6 meses sin agua. Entonces 80,000 litros que tienen ahí reservados de la captación son los que implementan y utilizan durante ese tiempo.
La gente iba al baño al campo y eso los transformó. Y ponerles un baño ecológico seco les transformó su vida.
Anteriormente había muchos pinos, pero la gente lo quemaban para poder sembrar maíz. Pero como antes no había mucho café, y ya con el tiempo pues ya fueron sembrando de a poquito y ya sabían que el café pues ya les genera un ingreso. Ahí fueron dejando para sembrar café. Hay partes donde mucha gente sembró maíz antes, pero ahorita ya hay café.
La biofábrica es un espacio que nos permite hacer la producción de biofertilizantes e insumos agroecológicos, y este espacio contribuye a que podamos tener un ingreso como empresa comunitaria de conservación para poder solventar los gastos necesarios para todos los integrantes. Esta biofábrica también es un espacio en donde se da la asesoría y la asistencia técnica a todos los productores que desconocen de estos conocimientos, pues permite experimentar algunas otras soluciones, algunos otros bioinsumos que podemos acercar a los productores.
Hoy, con el conocimiento que tenemos, nos podemos dar cuenta de que sí, el mismo campo nos va a dar abono, el mismo campo nos va a hacer crecer, el mismo campo va a generar la tierra para que ya no haya esta erosión, ¿no? En las tierras. Podamos cultivar, podamos sembrar, podamos producir, pero algo natural, algo que sepamos que lo producimos bien y que hasta nuestra salud nos va a hacer bien. El asunto es aquí cerrar el ciclo de apoyo entre una área y otra área para poder obtener la producción. Por ejemplo, en este caso nosotros tenemos a los conejos, nos producen el abono. El abono se composta, se va con las lombrices. Lo mismo pasa con los pollos. Ese abono que generamos aquí lo juntamos con otro abono, que en este caso es el bokashi, que también se prepara. Entonces, finalmente lo que buscamos es cerrar este ciclo de uso sustentable también de la tierra de alguna manera, junto con estas áreas que nosotros formamos acá para cerrar este ciclo.
Nosotros como productores de café de esta comunidad de Malvavisco llevamos ya 6 años en un proyecto en coordinación con WF, con las fundaciones que nos apoyan para seguir reforestando. En el primer año nos autorizaron 60,000 plantas para Unión San Pedro y así todos los productores siembran café, siembran árboles de cuil, de tiñir. De 3 años fueron 180,000 plantas que se sembraron en toda esta zona, lo que es San Pedro el Alto, Tierra Blanca, Malvavisco, Loma Canela, Llanoflor, Los Naranjos, Lagunilla. Prácticamente todas estas comunidades abarcamos lo que es la cuenca del río Copalita. El cuarto año otros 50,000 plantas, el quinto año otros 50,000 plantas más. Entonces eso nos ayuda bastante para que los productores sigan reforestando, para cuidar toda esta parte.
Durante los 17 años que la Alianza ha trabajado en la cuenca Copalita, ha fincado las bases para el trabajo con la gente. Con esta alianza hemos establecido 280 baños ecológicos en hogares y 10 en escuelas, 204 biofiltros y lavaderos comunitarios, 99 sistemas de recolección de agua de lluvia o escal, conservación y mantenimiento de 52 manantiales. Aunado a esto, 10 viveros comunitarios han producido casi 3 millones de plantas nativas para reforestar un total de 2.600 hectáreas en las zonas claves de la cuenca Copalita. Las prácticas agrícolas han reducido el consumo del agua para irrigación hasta en un 64% en San Miguel Suchistepec. Las plantaciones de café con prácticas sustentables a base de la agroecología abarcan ya 183 hectáreas y ha beneficiado a más de 20,000 personas en esta cuenca.
Lo más importante que he aprendido en estos tiempos, junto con las personas que tenemos talleres, las pequeñas empresas de otras comunidades, es que recibiendo información y actuando juntos podemos cambiar el medio ambiente. Yo creo que sí se puede vivir bien y en paz con el medio ambiente porque la tierra nos da para nuestro sustento, nos da para cultivar y poder vender y traer ingresos para nuestra familia.
Yo vi varias generaciones de chicos que pues ahora son transformados en personas tomadores de decisiones dentro de su comunidad. Han sido transformadores de su entorno y han contagiado a otros jóvenes para que el desarrollo de su comunidad sea mejor. Creo que el compromiso a largo plazo de la Alianza ha formado, ha nutrido a este semillal de jóvenes que en un futuro serán líderes en esta cuenca.
Básicamente desde cuando naces vas creciendo, ¿no? Como que te meten esa idea de que el campo no te sirve, o sea, lo que sirve acá es que tú salgas, que tú vivas en las ciudades, que ahí tienes oportunidades, en el campo no la tienes. Y no, el asunto es al revés, el campo es que te da nuevas oportunidades y mantener el campo como es el campo es la mejor oportunidad que puedes tener en la vida, porque es vida, el campo es vida. Oxígeno es vida, agua es vida. Entonces, todo eso lo requerimos como seres humanos.
Yo me siento muy feliz, muy motivada porque pues sé que estoy haciendo algo bueno y en conservación de la naturaleza, entonces es una gran satisfacción que tengo por ser parte del grupo de promotores.
Pues estaría muy padre que mi hijo crezca, ¿no? Con todo esto que pues seguro Junuen va a crecer con una cultura diferente en el manejo del agua, del suelo y del bosque, y eso me llena y me da alegría.
Please have a round of applause for our first film. Amazing. So I want to introduce our first guest, if you like, Dr. Alejandra Ocua, who's the director of the water program for WWF Mexico. So first of all, welcome to Stockholm. Beautiful film, great piece of storytelling, Really actually, I think for me what came across with the incredible music and score behind it, but actually it felt like authentic storytelling of the people involved. But in terms of the quality of that production, it was amazing. But this was actually part of BBC Age of Change series. Can you give us a bit of sort of context on that?
Yeah, well, thank you, Tom. Great to be with you on the stage, with you all. And of course, it was part of the series, Age of Change, that we filmed them last year. And we had four films filming in Mexico, one of them in the monarch butterfly, and 3 of them in Oaxaca. And of course, that we thought that it was a good idea to show these, to compile all of these 3 videos that we shot on Oaxaca, and to show them to you here at the Water Week. So it's part of this series that it's online, but they are like 5 minutes long. So we joined them together to have the complete story on this film.
Very good. There's so many different elements that we'll pick apart later on during the discussion. Social entrepreneurship, looking at the local perspective of water from abundance to scarcity, the interconnectivity between water, forests, and soil as well. But actually, in terms of the production involved, there was a considerable amount of time spent with those different communities to sort of help tell that story, if you like, right?
Yeah, we spent like maybe 3 weeks to have these 15 minutes.
Just a 15-minute video, exactly.
Yeah. It was really long, but I think that it worked out because we have a good story that shows 18 years of work that WWF Mexico and Fundación Gonzalo Río Arronte have been spending in Oaxaca. And now, over the last 3 years, we have been having another founder that is IKEA Social Entrepreneurship and AXA as well.
Amazing. So we'll talk about the partnerships and the collaboration, AXA, IKEA Social Entrepreneurship, as you mentioned later on. But for you, what was the kind of the direction to the video company involved in the BBC? Like, what was the one outcome that you sort of wanted to have from this video being showcased here in the World Water Week?
Well, what we wanted is to show that forest has to maintain forest, you have to work with the communities. And the communities are vital to have a good conservation of the whole basin. Because here in Oaxaca, we are working on a basin point of view, the higher, the middle, and the lower part of the basin. And we wanted to show how our work have this good impact on the daily basis life of these communities.
And we heard from the young professionals, actually the kind of the empowerment of knowing their impact in the upper basin on people further down the basement as well, right?
Yeah, and also, well, there are these young people, promoters, that they are going out of their communities, study, and coming back to their communities again. It's not something that happens really often, because people on communities go out and stay at the cities. But they are deciding to coming back and to do something for the forest, for their land, and for their communities as well.
So instead of going away, studying, upskilling, and then kind of living life as an expat, the work of what you're doing is to encourage them to come back and help sort of scale up their own communities.
Yes, and we think that we are kind of achieving this, because now they are making these 12 entrepreneurs, these community conservation entrepreneurships, that we are calling them that the CCEs. And yeah, they are making good stuff, good progress with that.
Very good. Well, Alejandro, thank you so much. We'll come back and we'll talk about impact and actually some more work with sort of younger professionals in the community, but fantastic documentary to sort of kickstart this evening. Thank you. So,
Thank you, Tom.
So from Mexico, we're now going to move to Nepal with a video building an alternative managing model for rural water supply.
सुरक्षित पानी पिउने बानी छ छैन हामीमा मनन गरौँ है प्राणदायिनी अमृत हो पानी जिन्दगी जोगाउन जानिराखौँ है हाहा बाँच्न र बचाउन जानिराखौँ है हाहा बाँच्न र बचाउन जानिराखौँ है
राति हुन्छ कि दिउँसो हुन्छ कि बोकेर खाइ त रहा हो
3 बजे राति नि गयो पहिले हैन पहिले गर्दै 3 बजे परेर जाँदा पानी ल्याउँदा आपत भरि 3 बजे परेर उठेर जाँदा पनि पानी मूल सानो भयो मूल सानो हुँदा यत्रो गामले सबै भइ जान पर्ने
अब बिहान 6 बजे उठ्यो अनि पानीहरु लिनु गयो भए त ल्याइन्छ नभए दिते फर्किन्छ अब छैन पानी
आधारभूत स्तरको पानी भनेको कम्तिमा 30 मिनेट भित्रको एक्सेसमा पर्ने त्यसपछि गएर इम्प्रुभ सोर्सबाट आउने लाई चाहिँ आधारभूत खानेपानी भन्छौँ भने अनि वाटर क्वालिटीमा चाहिँ मेजरली कोलिफर्म कन्टामिनेसन र आर्सेनिक नभएको चिजहरू कभर गर्यो भने चाहिँ सेफली म्यानेज वाटर सप्लाई भनेर भन्छौँ यो दुईटा परिभाषामा अहिले काम गर्न खोजिरहेका छौँ
As per the Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey 2019, the percentage of population using safely managed drinking water services is 19.1% in Nepal, 24.5% in Madhya Pradesh or Province 2, and 14.9% in Bagmati Province. The percentage of Nepal's population with arsenic contamination of source water is 2.8, of which 9.9% people reside in Madhya Pradesh or Province 2.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
हमारा नाम नसीमा खातून हजमिनिया घर क्योंकि वो कल में 2 रंग का कल होता है एक कम फीट के पानी वाला है एक बहुता है तक बहुता में तक कुछ ठीक लगता है कम वाला नहीं ठीक लगता हम लोगों के अंगना में कम वाला कल था इसीलिए हम लोग धारा बैठा जौन पैसा वाला उसके पास है ज़्यादा वाला हम लोग गरीब है इसलिए कम वाला
अहिले त खानको लागि त अब कलेको पानी अब चलिरहेको छ मनमा चाहिँ लाग्छ कि यो खियाको पानी खाएर अलि केही जिउमा राम्रो हुँदैन होला पेटमा जस्तो चाहिँ लाग्छ कलको पानी त्यति राम्रो छैन अलि राखेपछि रातो रातो भएर चाहिँ त्यो तर जान्छ अब अलि स्वास्थ्य खराब हुन्छ कि जस्तो लाग्छ तर तै पनि खाइरहेको छ ट्याङ्की पनि बनाए अब सबै कुरो त भइसक्यो पानी चाहिँ सञ्चालन गरेर खान पाइएन
यो पहिला यो पानी हुन्जेल चाहिँ अब राति उठेर जानु पर्दैन थियो अब दिन बिहानमा भोरेपछि आनन्दसँग अब सुत्न नि पाउने काम गर्न नि पाउने थियो यो बीचमा पानी बन्द भएपछि फेरि धोका भयो अब अहिले फेरि पानी आछ अहिले आराम छ
गभर्नमेन्टको सिस्टमको कभरेज भनौँ गभर्नमेन्टले दिन सकेको सिस्टमको कभरेज भनेको चाहिँ 95% अफ पपुलेसनलाई चाहिँ बेसिक वाटर सप्लाईको एक्सेस दिन सक्ने सिस्टम डिजाइन भएको छ तर त्यो 95% पपुलेसन मध्ये पनि लगभग 32-33% पपुलेसन चाहिँ ट्युबवेलबाट खाइरहेको बेनिफिट भइरहेको पपुलेसन छ जुन चाहिँ मोस्टली चाहिँ तराईमा छ त्यसपछि बाँकी रहेको 62 मध्येको चाहिँ लगभग 50% पपुलेसनले त्यो 62 को 50 भनेको 30% पपुलेसनले मात्रै पुग्ने गरेको पानी अवेलेबल अहिलेसम्म पुग्ने गरेको पानीको चाहिँ सर्भिस लिइरहेको अवस्था छ
While system has been designed to provide 95% of Nepal's population with access to water, why is only 30% of the population getting the service?
समुदायलाई स्वच्छ र सुरक्षित खानेपानी दिनलाई विभिन्न सङ्घ संस्था तथा सरकारी निकायहरूले खानेपानीको नयाँ योजना र मर्मत सुधारका कामहरू गर्दै आइरहेका छन् तर हामीले डेटा हेर्ने हो भने लगभग 71% खानेपानी योजनाहरू चाहिँ राम्रोसँग सञ्चालनमा आएको छैन, जसमा चाहिँ 39% चाहिँ मेजर रिपेयरहरू गर्नुपर्ने देखिएको छ भने 35% चाहिँ खानेपानी योजनामा चाहिँ हामीले माइनर मर्मतहरू गर्नुपर्ने चाहिँ देखिएको छ, जुन चाहिँ हेभी बजेटहरू हुन सक्छ।
खानेपानीमा गत साल हामीले ज्वालामुखी गाउँपालिकामा विभिन्न वडा मार्फत चाहिँ हामीले 60 लाख भन्दा बढी चाहिँ हामीले खानेपानीको निम्ति मात्रै भनेर छुट्याएका छौँ भने संग्रह प्रदेश नेपालमा 3वटा सरकार छन्, संघीय सरकार, प्रदेश सरकार, स्थानीय सरकार। तर प्रदेश सरकार र संघीय सरकार र स्थानीय सरकार मिलेर ज्वालामुखी गाउँपालिकामा झन्डै 2 करोड बराबरको चाहिँ हामीले खानेपानी आयोजनाहरू सञ्चालन गरिसकेका छौँ।
As per Nepal government's projection, they will need approximately $76 million for repair and maintenance of existing dysfunctional water supply systems. $1.4 billion overall to provide all households nationwide with drinking water. But will this investment ensure sustainable access to water?
जस्तो भनौँ स्ट्रक्चर बनाएर मात्रै भएन, एउटा घर एकधारा इस्टाब्लिस गरेर मात्रै भएन, त्यो सिस्टम रन गर्नको लागि चाहिँ इन्स्टिट्युसनल क्यापेसिटी पनि एकदमै इम्पोर्टेन्ट हुन्छ। जस्तो सर्भिस प्रोभाइडरहरूको इन्स्टिट्युसनल क्यापेसिटी, उहाँहरूले अकाउन्टिङ सिस्टम कसरी राख्नु भएको छ, रिभेन्यू कसरी उठाउनुहुन्छ, ट्यारिफ कसरी उठाउनुहुन्छ, एसेट म्यानेजमेन्ट कसरी गर्नुहुन्छ, यस्तो टाइपको चिजहरू चाहिँ अब बिस्तारै त्यसमा इम्प्रुभ गर्यो भने अनि मात्रै त्यो अघि भनेको 1 हाउस 1 ट्यापको क्यापिटल इन्भेस्टमेन्ट चाहिँ सस्टेनेबल हुन्छ जस्तो देखिन्छ के।
खानेपानीको व्यवस्थापनको लागि सबैभन्दा ठुलो कठिनाइ भनेको हामी खानेपानीको योजनाहरू सम्पन्न गर्छौँ, त्यो सम्पन्न गरिसकेपछि त्यसको दिगोपनको निम्ति त्यसलाई निरन्तरता दिन सकिरहेका छन्।
Rural water supply systems, especially in hilly Nepal, are scattered and predominantly managed by individual water user committees that aren't efficient at the job. This aids in frequent system breakdowns. Meanwhile, majority of the flatland or Tarai population relies on shallow hand pump or tubewell water, often contaminated with E. coli, iron and arsenic among other pollutants, while water supply systems already constructed with a huge investment remain dysfunctional in the area. The solution we see is an alternative management model. The idea behind alternative management model is to bundle all the scattered water supply systems managed by individual user committees and bring it under an efficient management body. The Water Supply Management Board prioritizes working on 5 key levers: outsourcing technical jobs like pipe laying and joining to professionals, ensuring 80% of the population has paid for household water connection before the water supply system is constructed, automate billing with online payment options, mobile phone credit or prepaid cards, centralize and outsource the management of financial accounts, outsource operation and maintenance to local professionals, who implements it? The private sector and the Water Supply Management Board that engages the private sector.
यो चाहिँ हामीले अहिले 3वटा जिल्लामा चाहिँ खानेपानी व्यवस्थापन बोर्डलाई चाहिँ पाइलटिङको रूपमा काम गरिरहेका छौं। धादिङको चाहिँ 2टा गाउँपालिका, एउटा बेनीघाट रोराङ र अर्को चाहिँ ज्वालामुखी गाउँपालिका। त्यसैगरी तराईको क्षेत्रमा चाहिँ हामीले 2टा नगरपालिकामा काम गरिरहेका छौं, रौतहटको राजपुर नगरपालिका र सर्लाहीको चाहिँ हरिपुर नगरपालिका। यति 4 ठाउँमा हामीले गरिरहेका छौं।
खाने पानी तो टंकी के पानी अच्छा है, धारा के पानी मीठ लगी जाए, कल के पानी राम्रो न लगी छी। आप कल के पानी में तो कभी कभी कीटाणु रह जाए, अभी तो अपना दूरा में कल न है, बंद हो जाए तो समस्या हो जाए है, आयल तो समस्या दूर हो गए।
धारा अब ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल करते, कल कम करते, वो पानी आने से ये पानी खराब लगता है। 50 फीट वाला कल नहीं बढ़िया पानी लगता है, देखने में कल का पानी पीला हो जाता है, बर्तन में धरते हैं और वो उजरा रहता है, वो बढ़िया साफ रहता है। देख
अब मैले त एकदम त केही पनि गरिनँ, त्यही अब त्यो ट्याङ्कीको जग्गा चाहिँ दिएको हो। अनि मैले चाहिँ अपने छोरा अब कान्छो छोरालाई सोधेँ, ऊ विदेश थियो, अनि कान्छो छोराले भने के को लागि जग्गा दिने त, पानीको ट्याङ्की पानी खान दिनुभयो दिनु पानीको लागि खानको लागि दिनु भनेपछि अनि कान्छा छोराले त्यसो भनेको अब अहिले चाहिँ अब कान्छा छोरा बितिगयो अनि अब बित्यो 23 सालै बित्यो त्यही 73 सालमै 73 सालैमै माघको 1 गते बित्यो त्यही त त्यो पानी खाउने भनेर आश गर्दा गर्दै अब न्यास्रो भइसक्यो आश गरिरहेछ न्यास्रो भइसक्यो अब ट्याङ्की बनेको त अब सुरु त यो 74 सालदेखिको हो तर के भयो त पछाडि फेरि यो बाटो खन्ने हुँदा अब त्यो जीविसीले खन्दा भन्दा त काहीँ अब च्यात्यो होला काहीँ थिच्यो होला कुच्यो होला के भयो त्यही भएर फेरि पानी चलेन अब अहिलेको सम्मले चाहिँ अब चाहिँ सञ्चालन गरेर पानी खाइन्छ भन्ने चाहिँ आश लागेको छ अहिले चाहिँ विश्वासै लागेको छ
त धेरै राम्रो पहिला त के हुन्थ्यो भने यस्तो चैत वैशाखको बेलामा त सुक्खा लाग्ने महिनामा त कहिले बेला त पानी भर्न भनेर बोकेर गएको भाडा पनि भर्दा सकिने फर्केर आउन पर्थ्यो बिहान भर्न गएको पानी एकैचोटि बेलुका भर्न पर्थ्यो त्यस्तो गर्न पर्थ्यो कि हामीले अहिले घरघरै धारा भएपछि चाहिँ त्यस्तो समस्याहरू आछैन
अब धुनलाई हैन स्कुल जाने लुगा त हप्ता 2 फेर 3 फेर धुनुपर्छ नि सानो बच्चाको त झन् दिनकै धुन पर्छ त्यसमा झन् एकदम गाह्रो भएको फोहोर मैला बोकेर हिँड्नु पर्ने पानी भयो अहिले सरसफाइ बच्चाहरूमा पनि एकदम सरसफाइ आएको छ अहिलेको आफत कस्तो भयो नि अब 3 बजे राति धन्दा गर्न पर्थ्यो पानी गयो 5 दिनसम्म पकाए भाँडा पनि मार्न पानी छैन के मार्ने त्यसै पकाउने भनेर खाइएको थियो अहिले बिहान पका बेलुका मार्न पाइएछ बिहान पका बिहान मार्न पाइएछ त्यही सुखा छ हामीलाई के भत्केकामा थाहै हुन पर्यो हामीले जति दुःख काट्ने नि अबको बालबच्चा अबको छोरा बुहारीले दुःख काट्न परोस्
विगतको दिनहरूलाई हेर्ने हो भने चाहिँ ग्रामीण भेगमा अझै विशेष गरेर ग्रामीण भेगमा चाहिँ खानेपानीको एकदमै धेरै समस्या उपभोक्ता समितिहरू मार्फत धेरै योजनाहरू चाहिँ सञ्चालन गरिरहेको अवस्था थियो त्यसरी सञ्चालन गरिराख्दाखेरिमा चाहिँ धेरै योजनाहरू गाउँपालिकामा सरकारले पनि बाहिरी सङ्घ संस्थाले पनि धेरै खानेपानी योजनाहरूमा धेरै लगानी गरिरहेको अवस्था थियो पछाडि त्यसको दिगोपनालाई हेर्ने हो भने चाहिँ योजना निर्माण भयो त्यसको 1-2 वर्ष योजना चल्यो पछाडि गएर त्यसको मर्मत सम्भार गर्नलाई चाहिँ उपभोक्ता समिति उपभोक्ता आफैले पनि गर्न नसकेको अवस्थाहरू देखियो पछाडि मर्मत सम्भारमा पनि धेरै योजनाहरूमा खर्च हुने अनि मर्मत सम्भार नगरिकन चाहिँ नचल्ने योजनाहरू सुरुमा 2-4 वर्ष चल्छ फेरि अर्को नयाँ योजनाहरू बनाउनु पर्ने त्यहाँ मर्मत नगरिकन नचल्ने खालको योजनाहरू चाहिँ म्याक्सिमम भएको कारणले गर्दा र वर्षुने सरकारको बजेट पनि खानेपानीमा वर्षुने जति लगानी गर्दाखेरि पनि हामीले सोचेको जस्तो व्यवस्थित खानेपानी सबै जनताको घरमा पुर्याउन नसकेको अवस्था आए पछाडि चाहिँ ग्रामीण भेगमा पनि अब हामी बोर्ड मोडल मार्फत जाँदा चाहिँ यो खानेपानीलाई अलिकति सुरक्षित व्यवस्थित ढङ्गले चाहिँ हामीले सबैको घरमा पुर्याउन सक्छौँ कि भन्ने एउटा त्यो हालको कन्सेप्ट भए पछाडि चाहिँ यो ग्रामीण खानेपानी व्यवस्थापन बोर्ड चाहिँ गठन भएको अवस्था हो बोर्डको 5 वर्षको कार्ययोजना पनि बन्दैछ बिजनेस प्लान त्यसमा चाहिँ हामीले पहिलो वर्ष चाहिँ 64 वटा आयोजनाहरूलाई बोर्डमा आबद्धता गराउने भन्ने हाम्रो प्लान पनि छ गाउँपालिकाभरिको अहिले साना ठुला योजना जो चलिरहेको योजना लगभग 149 वटा योजना छ त्यहाँ केही न केही मर्मत सम्भारको काम गर्नुपर्ने अवस्था छ जुन कि हामीले बोर्डमा लिएर आउनलाई हामीले मिटर सिस्टम लागू गर्नलाई महसुलै लिनलाई पनि एक घर एक धारा बनाउन आवश्यक छ त्यसलाई कम्प्लिट गर्दै बोर्डमा लिएर आउने र हाम्रो उद्देश्य भनेको अबको 3 वर्षभित्रमा एक घर एक धारा बनाउने भन्ने लक्ष्य हो त्यति घरधुरीमा चाहिँ प्रत्येक घरमा एक घर एक धारा र मिटर सिस्टम सहितको धारा चाहिँ हामीले सबै ठाउँमा व्यवस्थित गर्ने भनेको योजना छ र त्यसलाई लिएर आउनको लागि हामीसँग 3 देखि 5 वर्ष त लाग्छ नै
Greenfus Foundation has provided 2.647 million GBP to fund the alternative management model project in Nepal so far. The project's ultimate goal is to demonstrate a water supply management model that can stand on its own and provide continued safe drinking water to the population. We are currently at the stage where we have launched the model and are analyzing the service quality. Oxfam has projected an additional 5 to 6 million GBP to achieve the goal, which will provide over 100,000 people with clean and safe drinking water, prevent thousands of women and girls from having to pick up their dokus again to carry the burden of water on their back. Thousands in Tarai will finally be able to taste water without iron and arsenic.
Okay, I'd like to welcome Antil Adhikari, the thematic lead of water governance at Oxfam. First of all, another great video. Congratulations to you and the team. Can you tell me a little bit about your sort of role in thematic lead of water governance at Oxfam and really video, and where does that fit in?
Okay, so my role in Oxfam is to lead all the WAS and water governance initiatives in Nepal. That includes creating a roadmap on where do we want to work for the next 5 years to support the national government to fit in the national WAS cap, right? And the reason what we have understood is that, to do that, we need an idea, and idea needs financing. And financing needs cooperation. Mm-hmm. And cooperation needs sensitivity. That's possible through videos. And there are many evidences where I have seen, people don't smile at the presentation, but they smile at the video when someone is smiling in the video. And that actually, makes people connect with that video. So we as an Oxfam have started to believe that storytelling through video is an important approach, and we have in-house capacity to make the videos as well. Yeah.
Right. No amount of PowerPoint slides and bullet points can provoke that emotion that you can in video, right?
Yes. We try to make as many possible as videos so that we can connect people emotionally, not just by information, but through emotion. We want to humanize the issue. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, kind of talking from BBC level production, I mean, this video is actually produced, scripted, narrated, filmed, all by your one colleague, right? Who it was amazing to sort of see told the entire story from a single person, which was amazing.
Yeah. Yes. So one thing that we have understood and believe is that when we have an in-house team who is working with the team, understands the whole emotion. Because there is project manager, there are technical coordinators, and we are technical people, we understand 1 + 1 = 2. But there will be someone in-house who hears our communication every day and understand what exactly we're trying to do. And that point, it's very possible that the video also carries that emotion, the whole journey that we have. And we have seen that makes a lot of value as well, yeah.
And as we heard from Alejandro in Mexico, it's around spending time within those communities to really get a feel of the problems and tell those stories with authenticity as well. But for me, it was a bit of a sort of a reality check and a wake-up call. Some of the numbers and the data you presented from what was claimed to be the sort of population with access to water compared to actually the reality. And so one of the phrases that came out was sort of, dysfunctional systems left from legacy projects. Would you say there's multiple challenges that you're dealing with, but would you say that's one of the main ones that you wanted to sort of convey in that video?
Yeah. So the system dysfunctionality has been an important issue at the national WAS sector level. The sector development plan has also identified it as a national problem, and it's again being revised at the moment. To quote in number, at the moment, 71% of the water supply systems gets dysfunctional few years after construction. And out of many other issues in the WAS sector, I am deeply connected to this one because, when the system gets dysfunctional, our women and girls, they have to waste a very important portion of their life in just collecting water, And solving this problem is not just solving lots of other issues that connects with the functionality, but it's actually giving someone back their own life, some portion of their own life. Because if you have that water in your home, you don't need to wake up 3 a.m. in the morning. You can at least have 2 hours of sleep. I remember, we were interviewing one of our community member, and she said that she is happy to have a household tap now because now she can sleep till 5 a.m. And I never thought that actually water is also not allowing someone to sleep. Mm-hmm. So I am also deeply connected with the functionality issue, yeah.
The figure that was quoted was around 2 to 3 years on average for the sort of the lifetime of those systems, those legacy systems. But actually, the phrase that came out is you need to have systems that, to be sustainable, can stand on their own 2 feet and continue, as well as the capacity building and the skills and knowledge to repair those systems once they're installed as well. Well, Angela, thanks so much. We're going to go into a few more of the details and pick apart some of the issues in the panel discussion, but a fantastic video, and kudos to you and your team for, as I mentioned, writing, scripting, narrating, pretty much doing 20 different jobs to produce a single video, so kudos to you.
And thanks to my team, they've done an amazing job. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, and a nice round of applause, thank you. Okay, so from Nepal and rural water, we're now going to transport you to Zambia and look at transforming spaces, reclaiming and greening our world.
Project where we did the green spaces is called the Green Cities for Growth and Development. It was funded by the Swedish Postcode Rotary. It emanated from the background where we had that severe cholera outbreak 2017-18 because of poor sanitation. There were issues of poor water quality in Kanyama. It had basically 3 components or 3 M's. The first one was to empower citizens to engage the duty bearers. The other thing that they were trained in was to do sack gardening. As you are aware, their plots are small and the place is rocky, so you can't find space where to do gardening. So the gardening aspect is aligned to nutrition.
This resulted in the creation of the Kanyama and Garden House green spaces on land which was abandoned and was an illegal dump site. The women embarked on tree planting and sack gardening. Another idea was to initiate a savings culture to eliminate poverty at household level.
With this alliance partner which we've been engaged in, PPHPZ and WaterAid, they've made us to be at this place. This place was a dumpy place where people were being killed just within here. And it was also a dumping place where people were just throwing waste just here. So after this partnership, community engagement, we came across and identified this place, working together with the Lusaka City Council and our alliance partners, which are WaterAid and People's Process. We came across and identified this place where council came across and surrendered this place to the community so that women can have a place where to meet.
The women have also been trained in ending gender-based violence, GBV, water, sanitation and hygiene, wash promotion, counseling and financial literacy. Women with disabilities have not been left behind as a social inclusion measure.
And then chinango chantimachita timaindo tenga data mu community. Previous year, last year, when tinachita tinaenda ku community tachita identify ma cases ya bantu ba COVID. After tachita identify ma cases aja tinabwera nabo paja ma survivors ba COVID ndio ni tinabwera pano tachita chani tambolo chita counseling. After counseling wenze kuna program ya food hampers.
Through savings, the women are now able to meet school expenses for their children and buy food for their families. The women have further gained various skills such as tailoring, making concrete pot flowers, and welding. A similar green space was established in Garden House area in Lusaka. The women are leading in encouraging community members to plant a tree per house to help in mitigating the effects of climate change on the environment. The women in these facilities also make black soldier fly to make more larvae for vitamins to feed chickens and fish. The green spaces also work as water recharging points.
This place, as you have seen, is where we usually meet and do our savings. And we don't only do our savings, it's where we come as mothers We sit down, we share our issues. We also look into other issues that a woman out there can do and benefit from it with her family.
The combined skills and community engagement has changed the mindset of members of the community in Lusaka's garden house area. Children and women are now aware of the need for hand washing and the importance of maintaining good hygiene. The green spaces will ensure that in the long term, Kanyama and garden house residents have universal access to adequate, equitable, sustainable, and affordable housing and basic services, and secure land tenure and eliminate slum-like conditions. The green spaces will have an impact on reducing the ecological footprint and environmental impacts. It is also envisaged that waterborne diseases will be combated within these communities to prevent the recurrent outbreaks of cholera and other waterborne diseases. This will also ensure the protection and promotion of human health by providing a clean environment and breaking the cycle of disease. These green spaces also serve the purpose of protecting the environment and natural resources.
Epitilize kutista support. Kozi mkutista support kuri bebe sembe kubeba netista chani tiziva. Kuri betspangila monga in a green space. Sembe kubeba rivonse va tiziva. So, tashtapo benefits vambigi. Through muliba otaid na PPHPZ. Tenzo laki ngakuti na isetipezekeko na chaso kuno kwatu kuno. Ndaba wazimai kuno kwatu tenzo nkhala chabe tivi mverera kutali. Manje pamene tinao nakuti vibwera pano vili pafupi pano ndisokondwera maningi. Then tiwishinga kuti na banzatu benango tifuna tiste mobilize bantu bambiri kuti bonse lazimai baleke kunkhala mkomboni kunkhala chabe kuti tizipezeka pali anomalo. Otherwise tapeza mu chabwino ise.
If government can put much resources towards the construction of different settlements, I think nobody will be left behind, and it will make a change nearly at every home. Even the children who are at school, because this place we even invite children to come and do the plants here to promote science by planting trees. Even in other settlements, if these green spaces can be emulated and constructed, I think Zambia will not be the same.
So a lot of lessons have come out of there, and our plea is for the local authorities, the councillors, the MPs to adopt these concepts and roll out and scale in their constituencies. Urban and rural would need such kind of facilities, and women definitely. When you talk of empowerment, it's very clear that among themselves they have ideas, and what we need is to scale and move them from where they are into bigger cooperatives. And if they can come up with bigger business ventures, there are empowerment funds under CDF which they can access if they are properly organized, which they have done now. They have registered the cooperatives, and we trust they will start bidding for this financing and can do bigger projects like the value addition. They can procure equipment and start adding value as a cooperative, and we can see their goods in supermarkets and other places.
Okay, a round of applause, please. Okay. Adamson, welcome to Stockholm. Fantastic video. You featured in the video quite a lot. How does it feel to see yourself on camera there? But,
thank you.
But one of the things the phrase I picked up there was community mobilizers. And I love the word mobilizer because it's someone who's driving action as well. Talk about kind of the role of picking, of kind of choosing and helping with the community mobilizers.
Thanks, Tom. The community mobilizers were a very big component to this project. As indicated in the documentary, there was a component of sanitation. This area had a challenge with sanitation issues, so the project needed to have community mobilizers who would engage communities on the benefits of good sanitation. We did partner with Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company, who were implementing a project in this area. So The component that we did ourselves, we wanted to design initially toilets that will be emptyable, but Lusaka Water and Sanitation had already done that. So we turned our fund into pre-financing. So the household would be given a loan to pay for their superstructure, and then the water company would build the toilet while they are paying back in 36 months. Mm-hmm. So to trigger the community, we needed community mobilizers who would go engage households and explain these processes and what they needed to do to buy this toilet, which was being built within 3 weeks, while they would pay for it in 36 months. So that was the role the community mobilizers engaged, but also talked about this project and what we are doing, the mobilizing of women, that now we have a space where they could meet, come and discuss their issues. They could go and engage duty bearers for services that they were not receiving. So that's another component that those women or the community mobilizers were doing. And then they were also involved in the collection of repayments. So once the loans were dispersed, they would be reminding households to pay back, and those payments were done through the banks. So you heard there were saving groups and all that. So the women would raise their own money to buy these toilets, and the community mobilizers would help them to keep updated and ensure that they pay back these loans, because that became a revolving fund. So once a household pays back, the money would be given to another household to procure a toilet.
So that's innovation in finance, but also innovation in the ability to sort of, for the payment and the finance collection as well. And I think over the course of the video, for me, it showed that these areas that were previously pretty dangerous and were, as mentioned, dumping grounds, through that transformation, with WASH, water, sanitation and hygiene, and good practice, they've become these centers of innovation. And we're going to come on later on to sort of talk about how the work you're doing is really driving that sort of entrepreneurial spirit. And it goes way beyond sort of clean hygiene and sanitation. Sort of look at creating these hubs for females to gather as well.
Sure. Quite a lot has come out of what these spaces have done. They are indeed centers of innovation. We basically, I think the results have gone beyond our expectation. These women started value addition things. They are changing plastics into handbags. They are going into peanut butter. They are capable of planting seedlings for tree planting. So if there is a project that is doing reforestation, they are capable of planting trees that, or seedlings for trees that can be done at large scale. These women also, the place where they are is not adequate for them to do gardening, and it's rocky. So they are doing sack gardening for nutrition and also to reduce cost of buying vegetables. Being a low-income area, you can't always find money to buy vegetables, and there are also other needs. So they do sack gardening, where the household now have capability to provide their own vegetables using organic means. So they don't use fertilizer. They have been taught how to make organic manure, and they use that for their gardens, and they are providing for themselves. And also, there were a lot of issues that came out. I think you heard the issue of counseling. So they counsel women that have come out of COVID, either survivors or they've lost a spouse, and they want to find how to start life beyond that. It emanated from the cholera period. There are also women that are living with HIV/AIDS that they help to look at life beyond their condition, that they can still live, they can be on medication, they can live well and still find economic activities to do and sustain their households.
So these innovation centers go way beyond just developing entrepreneurs and new streams of income. It's actually mental well-being support, counseling support, advice in the community as well. Very good, amazing. Well, we're going to come back on to that sort of entrepreneurial side and look at the kind of mechanisms behind that in the discussion as well. But thank you, Adamson.
Thank you.
So now for our final video, we're going to travel from Zambia all the way to the US to look at the Journey of Water series, in particular New York, from the Catskills to the city.
We were doing in-school programs talking about why is water important. And I said, well, where do we get our water from? The students, they're like, at the faucet. And I'm like, okay, but like our water systems, these come from our environment. And we want to provide them with opportunities to recognize that we are interconnected with our environment. And we are interconnected with how nature is evolving all around us.
Water doesn't come from a tap. Water comes from nature. That means that all our lives depend on a healthy relationship between land and water. From source to sea, most of us have forgotten the journey that water takes to get to us. Even in a huge megacity like New York, the journey of water starts in nature. Approximately 90% of New York City's water supply comes from the Catskill Mountains, and protecting that source has always been a priority. But in the 1990s, the city faced a choice to meet new drinking water standards. They needed to either build a massive filtration plant, or they could find ways to ensure that the water coming from the Catskills was even cleaner and more secure.
There's a core value from New York City that says the right thing to do is to work with nature and work with people in the watershed to protect the quality of the water at its source. What happens on the land affects the quality of the water.
Every step, the leaves, the trees, the roots, the soil, they all act as filters that are cleaning the water. Healthy land equals healthy water.
New York decided to double down on its commitment to protecting the source of its water, avoiding the extremely high costs of a new filtration plant.
It would cost about $10 to $12 billion to construct, and it would cost about $250 million each year to operate. Those are costs that New York City and the ratepayers and the residents of New York City have been able to avoid for the long term as a result of all the good science-based work that's been done here in the watershed to protect the quality of water at its source.
These investments in protecting the source of water, done through collaborations with local landowners and communities, are great examples of some of the nature-based solutions that can solve our challenges with water. These investments resulted in not only some of the cleanest drinking water in the world and huge savings for taxpayers, but also reduced soil erosion and provided lands for thriving wildlife and beloved recreational spaces for people across the region.
That really speaks to a hallmark of nature-based solutions, that they almost always are providing multiple benefits. I can guarantee you that the people who come here and love this and enjoy this aren't thinking filtration system in their head. They are just thinking of the beauty of this place, the serenity. People in New York absolutely love these places.
Nature-based solutions can be directed towards many other challenges. In New York City, these solutions can help reduce flood risk and improve the quality of the water that flows into its bays and harbors. Cities are full of hard surfaces. Buildings, roads, and parking lots. These surfaces don't absorb water during storm events, causing high flood risk. Bringing back nature into our cities can slow the flow, reduce floods, and create green, cool places. New York City invested in a Blue Belt program that restores wetlands and other natural features, often called green infrastructure when used to manage stormwater.
And we use green infrastructure to collect that water, to kind of hold it temporarily, naturally treat it, and release it in a way that doesn't flood people downstream. And I'm happy to say that the Blue Belt program, which is 25 years old, we haven't had any residential or commercial flooding at any of our 98 sites.
Working with nature-based solutions not only protects people, they bring nature back into our cities and into our lives. Beyond improving water quality and reducing flood risk, the Blue Belt program also brings back native plants and animals across the city streams, wetlands, bays, and harbors.
In the past 3 years, we have a 100% increase of whale sightings and seal sightings around the city as we clean that water.
But nature-based solutions don't only restore nature, they restore the connections between people and nature. At Groundwork Hudson Valley, students on the Green Team work on nature-based solutions to protect water and bring nature into the heart of cities.
I think that green infrastructure is such an important thing. It's such a vital need, and it kind of encourages a healthy way that the community can interact with one another and find, joy or improve their mental health. And for a lot of kids, I feel like that's such a vital experience to kind of shape what they want to be and how they can, integrate themselves into this experience and develop a passion for nature.
I grew up in New York City. I was born and raised here. We started to go a little bit further north with my family, and we would explore the aqueduct because they made it such a great place for people to go out and participate in nature.
There exists a natural connection between the source and the sea, and everything in between. How we manage land and how we manage fresh water ultimately affects the health and productivity of coastal waters. Nowhere is this more clear than in communities that depend on healthy coasts, such as on Long Island.
Water is everything to us on Long Island. It's our economy, it's our way of life, it's our history, it's where people work, where they recreate. In many ways, it's why people live here on this island, because of our beaches and our rivers and our bays and the water and fishing.
And this connection or continuum from land to freshwater to coast and the marine environment, we are part of that continuum. And we need to be able to honor that in the way that we make decisions, the investments we make, the infrastructure we build, how we live on the earth. The more we can create a holistic way of working with nature, the more that we make that healthy, that's when we will reap the benefits that nature can contribute to us.
150 years ago, oyster beds were prominent all around Staten Island. That ended when the water quality was just terrible and you couldn't eat the oysters anymore. So it's important when we're discharging our water down that we're cleaning it naturally as best we can.
We used to have shellfish, oyster plants basically, and they would have piles of shell outside of them that were as high as a two-story house. One of the ways that we've been able to sort of begin to build it back is through public education and having people understand that what they do on land affects the water. And that we have a tool called aquaculture that can at least help us put these populations back in the bay. The hope is that we can have our farms large enough that when we're putting our shellfish out there, they're surviving, they're thriving. It's making a measurable impact on the water quality.
On this journey of water, we've been talking about the water coming from the forests up in the Catskills, coming down through New York City. Now we're out here along the ocean. We need to course correct to working with nature as opposed to only taking from nature. We have harmed it too much. The consequences will only get worse and worse.
In 50 years, I would like to see more commercial fishing and shell fishing. That means the bay's healthier, and that means to me that people understood in this day and age that what they do on land affects the water. If it's healthy enough to sustain human harvest activity, then that means it's a really healthy estuary, and it's healthy for everything else that depends on the bay, because our estuaries are nurseries for fish.
Nature-based solutions in many ways is rediscovering knowledge that we've always had about how nature can support us. And the lessons that we're hearing, the solutions that we're hearing about really can be applied broadly and can be applied in cities and countries and communities around the world.
And if we can engage with the people, especially around indigenous communities who have done this for such a long time, if we can learn from the people who are doing it right and who have done it for so long before us, that's how we're going to get back to this place of engaging properly.
I can see that the nature-based solutions are so important. I would honestly change the landscapes of cities entirely to be more open, to have gardens on almost every other street corner for kids to run through, teach kids how they can put their hands into the earth and learn from the earth.
By investing in nature-based solutions, we get the power of nature on our side. Clean water comes from nature, and we can work with nature to ensure that we send clean water to our coasts and oceans. From source to sea, we can work with nature, not against it, to ensure a safe and secure future, where nature is integrated into our cities and into our lives.
Ruth, welcome. So we're here with Ruth Matthews, who's the Senior Manager at SIWI. You have run from another session straight in here, so thank you very much. The video there really ends with a sort of optimistic, upbeat tone, but the phrase that stuck out for me was, water doesn't come from a tap, it comes from nature. But this, The Journey of Water, is part of a series of films produced involving SIWI and WWF. Can you tell me a bit more about that for the context?
Sure. One of the things that WWF is very committed to is nature-based solutions, is helping all of us, everybody, understanding that nature is the source of clean water, of many different kinds of services, and that we don't just open the tap and water appears. And so they've developed this series called The Journey of Water, where they have taken people along the journey of water so that they actually travel through the parts of the ecosystems that are providing that water. What happened with this video is that I learned that WWF wanted to do a Journey of Water experience in New York because we had the UN Water Conference in New York City, and it would be a great opportunity to be able to highlight the ways that New York City has used nature-based solutions to protect their water supply. And this investment that they've made into nature has been more than 100 years. This is not a new activity for them. And so then learning about that, the work that I do is, we call it our Source to Sea program. And there we're looking at how water connects across land, fresh water, and coastal and marine ecosystems. And so we came together and said, instead of going from nature to the tap, let's go all the way after the tap. What happens and where does the water then go? So we really understand the full cycle of that we need to rely on nature and protect nature to be able to have clean water, but we also need to treat water in a way that it returns to nature as clean.
So looking at the entire water cycle, unifying the two organizations, and we'll talk a bit about the partnerships later on. But this was actually quite a, you talked about the journey of water, but this was a personal journey for you as well, Ruth, in terms of traveling to New York, working with the film crew, getting involved with the interviews to sort of see the finished result here at the World Water Week.
Yes, a group of us, so it was myself and Jeff Opperman from WWF, and you saw the two students that were along with us. Actually did the journey of water. We went up to the Catskills and learned about what was happening up there in terms of protecting the watershed around the reservoir there, working with farmers and communities to make sure that their activities were contributing in a positive way in protecting the water. And then we went to Staten Island, across from Long Island and Manhattan Island, sorry, and learned about their Blue Belt activities there, and then out to Long Island so that we made that full journey from source to sea.
Very good. So we're going to talk a bit about the partnerships now between the organizations. It's a natural sort of segue after this. But Alejandro, let's sort of come back to you. You've had a bit of a break now. Have you enjoyed the film so far?
Yeah, I really like them.
Very good. So we mentioned a little bit about AXA and IKEA and WWF sort of coming together with this project. Can you give us a few more details on that sort of collaboration and what worked, what didn't, and what you've learned from that sort of long-term collaboration?
Yeah, well, this project, as I said, it started 18 years ago on that basis with collaborating first with Fundación Gonzalo Ribarronte. And we've been working with them there, and then maybe 3 years ago, another actor came into scene. It's AXA, and also IKEA Social Entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. And what we were working is, with Fundación Gonzalo, we've been working more on a basin point of view, and we've been working more on a sustainability of the water. So when AXA came into the scene, we were working on agroecological products. So this region can do some crops more ecological, more sustainable, and that they don't harm all the watershed. So when IKEA Social Entrepreneurship came into scene, we thought about this idea of how do we ensure that the people doesn't cut down the trees, so they can conserve their own forests. Mm-hmm. Because they own the land, but they cannot do anything with the logs. So just cut them down, sell them, do some tables maybe. Mm-hmm. But we wanted to ensure conservation. So we promote 12 CCEs, as I mentioned. And these CCEs are now having this connection with all the forest, with all the land, and they are not cutting down trees, but they are making money. They are receiving money. So we are training them to how these CCEs are going to evolve. They now have a logo, they have this financial training, and also they are developing products that not only are selling in their local communities, but also as well, they do have websites to sell. Like they have balms, traditional medicine, mm-hmm. They have coffee, they have vanilla, mezcal, and also we are promoting these nurseries, forest nurseries as well. So this is kind of a huge project that involves a lot of people, a lot of well, supporters, but also it is getting well with the whole basin. You know, the conservation is our main goal.
So you're actively helping through the partnerships to drive these local entrepreneurs to diversify their income as well.
Yeah.
Amazing. We'll sort of come back onto that topic a bit later on. So, Anchil, partnerships in terms of the collaboration between Oxfam and the Grundfos Foundation in Nepal. Talk about how that works, and really to make sure that collaboration drives impact as well.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to also remember other partners in the ground. Yeah, the initiative that we are doing at the moment, it starts in the root from the board that you saw, the one who's speaking, the Water Supply Management Board. Mm-hmm. The board is actually working for the community to provide water, yeah, and against the tariff paid by the community. And there is the local government who is also providing certain funds to get the board sustained. Certain amount of money comes from the community, certain comes from the local government. And that's how the board is running. But the reality is the board itself is not sustainable at the moment. It needs to work for, like maybe 5 years more, as you saw in the documentary. Mm-hmm. And that's when the external financing becomes very critical. The role of Oxfam, the role of Grundfos Foundation is very critical, because we need to finance that board for a certain period of time until it runs on its own. And the beauty of the partnership between Oxfam and Grundfos Foundation was that we were together in a journey. I often call it like trekking in a very, like in Himalayas. It's you cannot see very far, but you have to keep on moving. You need to make changes, and you need to have a partner who is flexible enough to understand the ground reality and, like be adaptive with the change, be flexible. And I think that is the major beauty of our work was a partnership with Grundfos Foundation, especially on adaptive, like partnership and flexible financing. So
multiple partnerships, requirement of new finance to make that even more sustainable in the long term, or as you mentioned, the analogy, swim further. So Adamson, in your very title is partnerships. So you're a man who knows about different partnerships and sort of collaboration to really drive these green innovation centers. Talk to me about sort of where you see things working really well and kind of any lessons learned when it comes to partnerships to drive the collaboration.
Thank you, Tom. I think on this project we looked at partners that were more involved in the work that we wanted done. If you talk of people's process on housing and poverty, they basically work in slums with communities to build houses. So beyond the project, they are still working in those areas. They are still working with the women. They are still doing what they do. We worked with the local authority who work in perpetuity, so that beyond what we are doing through the ward development committees and the other works they do, they will continue advancing this cause and this work. We had partnered with Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company, whose mandate is to provide water and sanitation in these areas, and they will not stop doing this. So all these things were meant to ensure that there is sustainability, that this work doesn't just end at project level, but it goes beyond the project, because most times when we collaborate or partner, we end up with partners that are just involved in the project, and beyond the project, they abandon everything and nothing goes beyond that. I think this project was implemented between 2017 and 2020. This is 2023, you are seeing what the women are able to do. So that means there's been continuity because of the networks and partnerships that we're engaged in. We also had the Lusaka Water Security Initiative. They are more concerned with water security for the city. So when it came to the sanitation options that were being proposed, they were very much involved in ensuring that what we build does not pollute groundwater, because that was a major concern of this project, groundwater pollution that poses a risk to the water supply for the city of Lusaka. So we had partners like that, and we believe that if you collaborate and partner with like-minded stakeholders, you are going to go beyond the project periods, and your work will be more sustainable, and there will be other things that will come up, and partners can pick up those and continue with the implementation of the aftershots of the projects.
Very good. So like-minded partners, and you mentioned they're even 3 years after the program, sort of seeing the results and the impact, which we'll come on to. So in terms, it's a nice little segue to you, Ruth, in terms of like-minded partners, because you could say that the Journey of Water helped to unify a sort of complementary viewpoint between SIWI and WWF on the source of water. But actually, through that process of working collaboratively on the video, it helped to unify that voice.
Absolutely, it did, and it was a nice partnership in that WWF has a certain agenda to really raise the awareness of the importance of nature-based solutions and nature for clean water. By adding SIWI, we were able to take that all the way out to the sea. But I also see other partnerships in this journey of water. So it was our partnership, which was really brilliant and worked very, very well. But it was also the partnership between us and the people that we interviewed who are doing this work on the ground and have that investment. And one of the things that I was so touched by was how each one of them in their own way said, we need healthy nature to have clean water, that what we do on land affects the water. And so that it wasn't something that we had to put into the video, they actually brought it in. And then the other partnership is the partnership with nature. And I think that's the real core partnership of the video and the whole journey of water, is recognizing that we live in a partnership with nature and we need to be reciprocal and respectful in that partnership.
And it's perhaps getting people to appreciate that partnership, or even the local water sources and the environment as well. We heard from some of the local citizens on sort of almost realizing that, renewing their appreciation of the local environment.
Absolutely, and what I saw is that, whether it was the county executive of Long Island, or the shellfish farmer, or the two students that we were with that joined us on this, that all of us felt that deep respect and inspiration that we get from nature, and how important it is to be respectful in return.
Very good. So we want to sort of come back, I guess, a loop to how I started, and that's video as a storytelling medium. We're here as a film night. There's no popcorn that I can see, but we are here to celebrate video and the power of films and movies and documentaries. So maybe I'll start with you, Anhil, because you raised a really good point in terms of, let's just touch on that a bit more, sort of conveying that emotion and the local stories. It just has more of a powerful impact than you can from perhaps presentations and reports as well.
Yeah. So let me share you my experience. Like this. This is perhaps a story, but again an experience. So there was a session going on 2 different rooms. In one room, there was a presentation where people were, like the presenter was sharing like XYZ% of girls are not educated, and that's why they're not able to go up front in the world, and they were presenting this number of data. In other room, there was a video, and this was the story. So there was a father, mother, and a daughter. So daughter is in pain. She has a stomach pain, and then she's rushed to hospital in an emergency. And then the doctor says she needs to be operated. She has some problem in her gyno, and then you need a gynecologist. And the father is really uncomfortable to have a daughter operated by a male surgeon. And he says, well, can you have a female doctor? And he says, well, we don't have a female doctor. And he is really confused. And then And then he says, well, and the doctor says, well, you need to decide fast. She needs to be operated. And that's when the screen pauses and it says, if you want your daughter to have a proper medical surgery in emergency, you need a female doctor. To have a female doctor, educate your daughter. So it's the same message, but in the second one, you can connect, every father can connect, every daughter can connect, and you are not just giving information, you are actually, like connecting human emotion, you are humanizing the issue, but also every audience will connect themselves with that father, mother, and daughter. And this is something I had a conversation a long time ago, but I still remember the details. I don't remember the other presentation, but I remember this. So this is the power of video storytelling, yeah.
That's a great anecdote, thanks, Anhil. Alejandro, in terms of then the series that you did with the BBC, which I still need to check out, by the way, so great recommendation. But tell me about the sort of the follow-on impact and the sort of feedback you've had from having something of that scale focus on the local water issues in Oaxaca.
Well, yeah, it was a great experience to have these films with the BBC. And it was part of a series that WWF launched with the BBC. And you can check it on the website. It's Age of Change.
Age of Change.
And we have been receiving a lot of support from that videos that were posted online, on Facebook, Instagram, and everything. So we believe that, well, media now, it's really powerful tool. So like having these posted on this social media get us to have more funding. We are now at another stage. So we are going to keep evolving these projects that we have in Oaxaca right now. We are now thinking on not only conservation, but restoration as well. So we are going to start a new project over there that it's, we are going to produce more than 700,000 plants from 2023 to 2025 to have this restoration done over all these basins. So yeah, it's getting bigger.
Very good. So increased awareness amongst potential funders and donors, as well as being showcased here at the World Water Week with the film as well, right?
Yes,
so,
yeah, as well.
Very good. Adamson, in terms of then within sort of Zambia and showcasing that project and the results and also the some of the ladies that have been empowered within that community. Talk to us how you've sort of used that video where you're located.
Thank you. Indeed, telling stories through videos, you reach so many people. The women could not be here, but they have spoken to us about what this empowerment has done to them, the changes that they've seen in their lives, and what they would want to see in other communities. So back home, we are trying to use this to engage parliamentarians to do the same in their constituencies, especially urban parliamentarians, that they need spaces where women can gather, talk about their issues. They are the biggest affected part of the community in terms of water supply, sanitation, and hygiene. When there is no water, it's the women and the girl child who the programs are affected because they are expected to go and fetch water. When there is no provisions at home, there is no relish, it's a woman who has to find ways and running up and down to provide for the household. So when they learn these skills and when they have a platform where they can talk about their issues, I think you heard them talking about finding a place where they can reflect, they can rewind. There are a lot of issues of mental health cases now. But when they have a place like this, they can go and talk to someone and seek help. Sometimes you come from an environment where maybe there is GBV in the household and you don't know who to talk to. You don't know who you can open up to. So these platforms also help them to find someone they can talk to. Some of these women have been trained as counselors. So there is a platform where a lot of things do happen. So to us, it's a big thing that low-income areas can have spaces like this where women would gather to do their business, not only economic business, but also social business. And it's a great success, as you heard from them. And going forward, we trust that this documentary will help us garner more support for other areas, but also for these who have already gone through the empowerment to scale their activities to a different level where we can link them to markets, we can connect them to other places where they can expand their activities. Basically, I think the places that we built belong to the women. That's part of the empowerment. They are 100% owned by the women. They use them to raise funds. They can rent them out and raise funds through that. They are self-sustaining, basically. So the thing that we want to do now is to see how do we link these women to other opportunities, because they already have the skills. What they need now is better opportunities. For example, if there is a project that is doing with agroforestry, how can they be involved in planting seedlings for such a project and get paid for the work they do? So those are some of the things that are in the pipeline at the moment. So I think you heard that they have now registered as a cooperative. That is all to make them official, and that they should run business as opposed to small-scale enterprises that maybe are not properly registered, and if someone comes on board to say, I want to support, they don't have documentation and governance issues. So when they register like that, you can hold them accountable, you know where to find them, and they can share their experiences of what they've done. Sure.
Okay, thanks, Adamson. So raising awareness, and we'll come on to the sort of the helping to scale up and make those connections to really take the businesses to the next level. We now want to sort of have a bit of audience Q&A. Thanks to everyone who's stayed put. We know it's into the evening, but if we could have, we've got a couple of microphones. We'd love to have some comments, insights, any questions to our amazing speakers. As I mentioned at the beginning, please don't be shy. We want to hear from you. So yeah, if we can get, I'm just going to go HD there so I can see. Any questions at all or feedback from the audience? Yeah, we have one on the right-hand side to get going. If we could just get a microphone over.
All right, I'll be brave and go first. Thank you to all the people who contributed to this. I enjoyed learning about all of your work. I wanted to make a comment first to Ruth and just thank you so much for your film. You know, as media will do, it sort of evokes memories. And I was actually an engineering graduate student at the time that the US Environmental Protection Agency appointed the panel to discuss whether or not New York City would have to filter its water supply. And my professor at the time, when I was in graduate school, was appointed to that panel. So we had some maybe, you know, secondhand direct information about the discussions, and it's influenced my life to think about water from, you know, where it starts in nature all the way through the cycle. It's influenced how the kind of work that I do now and how we approach it. So I just wanted to share that with you. And then I wanted to ask a question to Angel. I applaud you for doing work to bring water directly to people's homes. That is the international benchmark that we're all striving to achieve. And I wanted to ask a couple of questions. Are those connections metered? Is one question. And if they are, if you have any information on average water use at the households. And sort of a follow-up to that, if households are not able to pay their water bill, what happens in those cases?
Yeah.
Okay, Angel.
Yeah, thank you. I think I missed the second question. I'll answer the first one. Yes, the household connections are metered. Yeah, and so what we have done is, we have a set of tariff incorporating the operation cost, capital maintenance cost, and other cost to keep it running. But there are definitely some households who will not be able to pay the tariff. So the local government will be providing subsidy for that particular cost. So it's not like local government will have identified, individual households and they provide a subsidy for each individual household. Let's say local government will subsidize 20% of the total operation cost. And the board will then identify who are the people in the lowest quintile and they will subsidize them, number one. Number two, what if people don't pay? They can, but they don't pay. That's a different question. That's the major difficulty because the problem is, it's also socially and culturally very difficult to, cut your connection if they don't pay it. So what we are thinking, we have not been in that situation where we had to do that. But our plan is, Nepal is a very socially, that's a very socially built country. So if there is a social pressure, it can work. And I remember one of my colleagues from Ethiopia, he had shared an idea, and he has done a similar thing that, there is a community, and the community kind of, gives a pressure, social pressure to those people who don't pay. Again, they can pay and if they don't pay. But again, those people who cannot afford, there is always a subsidy option for that. And I kind of missed your second question. Could you please repeat that?
Do you know what the quantities of water that people are using?
So it's below 10,000 liters.
Per month?
Yeah, per month. Yeah. Thank you. And we design for 75 liters per capita. Yeah, per person. Yeah.
Angel, thank you. Thank you for the question and also the feedback to Ruth as well. Any other comments, questions? Yeah, we have the microphone.
Super. Thanks again for the amazing videos. Very sort of simple question. I'm always curious that it takes a lot of work to do all these videos. I'm curious to see if all the work that you've put behind also helped to spark other ideas that are similar or sort of building on the messages that you've put across in these videos. Have they sparked other initiatives? Have they expanded the programs or any sort of unexpected results maybe? Maybe that's a simpler question. Thanks.
Okay, so the actual process of perhaps interviewing, producing these videos, has it uncovered new bits of data, new ideas? Who wants to go first on that one? I mean, Ruth, you were on the ground for 3 days, right? Speaking to people, living and breathing with the video crew. Did it sort of spark any new ideas or insights for you, or perhaps sparks for new documentaries? Maybe you've got a taste for it and you want to change careers and go into no?
Yeah, well, absolutely. It was very inspiring. What I think is so important about doing something like this is that you connect with real people in a real landscape. I mean, that was the highlight, was seeing how people in their professional lives, in their livelihoods, were really focused on how do we work with this landscape, how do we engage with it, how do we nurture and take care of it, and how do we piece these parts together. I think that was something that I hadn't seen before, because I've known about the nature-based solution approach up at the reservoir in the Catskills for decades, but to see how, especially on Staten Island, they would piece together many different types of smaller and larger approaches of using nature to absorb water, to clean the water before it went back in, and then taking that all the way down to the coast in Long Island, and seeing how even by using oysters you can both benefit from clean water, but also clean the water itself because they filter feed. So to see how those all came together across a source-to-sea system was really impressive and inspiring, and each individual was very inspiring to listen to. But then the other thing that I think was really important about the video and why we did it is that a lot of times the question is, like with nature-based solutions, how do you do it? It's hard. How do you, what does it mean and everything? And what I saw was that there are many different types of nature-based solutions, that you need to find the one that fits within the context, the nature that you are working within, and the issues that you are trying to address. And that if a city, like a mega city, like New York City, can make those kinds of investments and get those benefits from it, who else can't, right? It's really a proof of concept there. So that's why we really wanted to highlight New York City during the UN Water Conference, when there were thousands of people paying attention to water in New York City, to really highlight that this is doable, it saves money, and it has very meaningful results, not just from the perspective of water supply, but also in terms of returning that water back to nature so that you have beaches that you can swim in, you have fisheries that you can enjoy, that we get all these benefits from nature.
You're absolutely right. The world's attention was on New York and water, certainly that week, and this week in Stockholm, of course. But any other sort of key learnings? I mean, Alejandro, you're the country manager for Mexico on water for the. Did I get that right? I should do at this stage in the session.
Yeah.
But I mean, from kind of seeing the interviews, and you mentioned a much longer documentary, is there anything that kind of was a real like aha moment for you, or things that you hadn't had known, or new data points or insights?
Well, these community conservation enterprises that we've been working with are having really good results on conservation, the basin conservation of the forest. So in WWF Mexico, we are trying to replicate them, not only in Oaxaca, but in other parts of Mexico, like in Central Pacific Mexico, in the state of Nayarit. We are doing some another community enterprises. And also in the Yucatan Peninsula, they are developing these community conservation enterprises to make some honey over there, and in Nayarit are some fisheries. So we are trying to replicate this because we realize that this is one way to ensure this conservation on not only on a basin, but in some places in Mexico that we need to conserve.
Okay, very good. Well, that's actually a nice kind of segue. We've got about 10 minutes left. So in terms of sort of the innovations that the videos uncovered on income streams, business models, or local entrepreneurs, Antil, this is something we've kind of spoke about in terms of the importance of giving the ability to generate an income, sort of help get engaged for the long-term sustainability of the projects. Can you talk a little bit about what you've learned in Nepal on that?
Yeah. I have been, advocating about pricing of water since 2018. I remember my first presentation was an IRC conference on why water should not be free. And that was the time when even in Nepal there was a too clear discussion: water should be free and water should be priced. My personal take is that even when we are, water may be free at the source, but it's not free when you have it in a system. But again, if you look at it very deeply, those women and girls, they have to actually pay their life in hours to go to the source and fetch water. So you see like it's free, but actually they're paying some hours of their time to fetch their water. So nothing in the world is free, first thing, So, and I think if you're actually paying tariff, it's much cheaper than your hours of your life, And we started discussing that in the country level. And we have seen that, those communities where they have no tariff in place, they break down and they realize they need money. That's when they understand the value of tariff. And it has been very easy for us to advocate the need of tariff in those communities where they have had a series of breakdowns, series of financial shortage, and then realized, yes, we need to have a certain backup, and the source is the tariff, right? So those communities, it has been very easy for us to advocate. But there are also some communities where, multiple times different NGOs, different movement campaigns have kind of, disturbed the business idea, by giving, stuff for free, completely subsidizing stuffs in those areas, advocating for tariff itself has been very difficult for us. And one learning that we have had in the southern belt of Nepal was that if we want to keep the system running, we need to have at least 60% or 80% of the households on board in the system, like pre-registering, pre-registering in the system, and that's by paying the upfront cash. So that then guarantees that, okay, these people will actually use the water and pay the tariff. Because there were so many schemes where, that was built, but then even in 20 years, even 10% would not actually connect to the household connection because they were depending on the hand pump. And they know, and they don't really care if there is arsenic because they see that hand pump as a free water and they have to pay for the household connection. And we had to, kind of change our entire strategy. We spent probably 8 or 9 months in just going on household levels, using multiple strategies and really explaining them why they need to pay tariff, why the household connection is important. And we tried a lot of things, and at the end, what worked, it's very funny, but what really worked is that, we started distributing a badge to the households where they have the household connection. And now there is a sense of competition between neighbors. Now they want that similar badge in their house. And to buy that badge, they will have to pay for the household connection, and that's kind of working. So number one, the whole idea of whether or not you need to pay tariff has been changing. So now people are accepting that, yes, we need to pay for the tariff to keep the business running. And number two, we are also learning ourselves that it's not, people like us going and teaching people that what should be done. It's actually working with them, understanding their psychology, what do they see value, and then we are kind of selling our ideas. Like this is the value proposition, and they're actually buying it. And so this is kind of learning for us as well.
So making sure people see the value in water in order to sort of have that long-term financing through the tariff. Very good. Adamson, we've talked a bit about the sort of local entrepreneurships within these innovation centres in green, but one topic I want to finally sort of make sure we get in is the sort of not only empowering women within these centres, but also children in the community. And one thing that came across during the video is actually the involvement of children in helping to sort of plant trees and get involved in the building of these innovation centres. Can you talk sort of how important that is when you're involving the community in these projects?
Sure, thanks, Tom. Indeed, the project we did required that the household had finances to do what they needed. Sanitation product that was being provided needed to be paid for. The emptying services needed to be paid for. They buy water from kiosks, or some have household connections, all that required resources. So it meant the household getting involved in income-generating activities. So we saw these women learning different ways of generating income. Some went into, the majority, almost all of them are part of the saving groups. The money they get from these saving groups, they go to boost their businesses. Others are marketeers, others are into farming and doing other things. So they boost those businesses using the revenue they are getting from there. And they also involve their households, the children, as I say, to learn this trade. I think it's more towards sustainability, that if you can't just be sitting, if you can help. As a child, you come in to learn some of these things that the women have been learning. But one most important thing I must say is that these women are not shy from learning. They've been learning different things. They've been learning climate issues. So now they've learned issues of maybe coming up or building biogases to produce gas for cooking, to reduce on the cost that they spend on charcoal. They do, I think you saw the blackjack fries, where they are producing protein for their chickens as opposed to buying conventional feed. So all those are means of trying to reduce costs and maximize on the money they are making. So we see that there is a lot that these people, when they are empowered, are able to do. So what you need is to trigger. They can come up with new ideas. They can learn new things. They have the desire and the energy to do quite a lot beyond what you can imagine. So you can see the energy that they were showing, and these are new things that when you get on the ground, you see that they are doing. So I think there is an issue of sustainability, continuity, and this is why you see them working with their households to do these things.
Mm-hmm. So if you're providing the right environment, and even helping with certain ideas and direction, actually there's new business ideas and thoughts that will still be sparked once you've got those sort of ingredients in place, right? Very good. Ruth, finally to you, because you've got an interesting story around this personal journey of water and actually taking students with you on that journey to sort of open their eyes as well to the water cycle. Can you share that with us, please?
Absolutely. I mean, it was just an amazing experience because they were two very special young people, and it was just a treat to be able to spend 3 days with them and to give them the experience of going through this journey of water and learning about it. They were already students who were interested in green and sustainable things, and so they had an open mind about it. But when we would talk to them, what came from their hearts was just incredibly touching and inspiring. And they were both seniors in high school, so when I knew we were going to be showing the film here, I reached out to them to let them know that they should watch. And Jessie, who you saw on the film, I asked them, so what comes next? You've graduated now. So she wrote back, and she's going to Stony Brook University, and she's going to be studying biomedical engineering, because she was so inspired by how biology, how nature can be useful to us, how we can relate to it, that she wants to see how she can use nature in medicine, and she's dedicating herself to that. So I think that's an amazing outcome of a journey of water that is very personal, but I'm sure she's going to have a huge impact on the world.
And then as well, to share that story and that experience to inspire others as well. So amazing. So we've reached the end of the evening, and just to sort of summarize, we looked at Mexico's water protectors and ecosystem allies. Fantastic video from WWF Mexico, building alternative management model for rural water supply in Nepal, transforming spaces, reclaiming and greening our world in Zambia, and then the journey of water from the Catskills into New York. So a big thank you to everyone tuning in online from around the world, and also to those in the audience who have stayed with us to the very end. The sun is still shining, and the restaurants and bars are still opening in Stockholm, so there's still plenty of the evening to enjoy. But a big round of applause, please, for all of our panelists for these amazing films for the world.